Come with us on our weekend trip to Montreal. We went in December and it was 14 degrees outside and freezing, but we had so much fun. We stayed at the Humanity Hotel with Marriott's autograph collection and the room was so spacious. After checking in, it was a Friday night, so we went to a bar nearby. They had a DJ going with house music and they're known for their tropical drinks with bold flavors that they map out on their menu. We got the miso juicy. That was an interesting balance between sweet and savory, and the Pinot Fuego came in a giant coconut, so we had to get it. All their drinks were so good that we had to do another round, and there's nothing wrong with ordering espresso martini for a nightcap. We started to get hungry and we ordered the ultimate French grub, French tacos. It's grilled and filled with melted cheese, fries, bacon, and chicken nuggets, and if brought together by the sweet, savory, and smoky Algerian sauce, that's everything you want to consume after a round of drinks. We started the next day exploring Old Montreal with the beautiful historic architecture and the Notre Dame Cathedral. We stopped by Cafe Wempuko for some coffee and we couldn't resist this wall of boba weenie. We got the cortado and accidentally ordered a coffee ice cream that was smooth and creamy, but it was too cold outside, and a good hack was mixing it together. The donut was so fluffy and filled with Nutella, and it was a great way to start our day. After walking around and some souvenir shopping, we headed over to Little Italy. We stopped by this Italian supermarket that's so big it was like 3 or 4 blocks long. This chocolate shop had so many unique flavors they make in-house, and we had to try their salted egg yolk, cherry, and passion fruit chocolate. We also stopped by this cocktail shop, which has almost everything you need for cocktails. It was so cold outside and we were craving a warm bowl of soup, so we headed over to Tam Mi for some delicious Vietnamese food. These shrimp pancakes are fried with sweet potato and had an insane crunch, and they're delicious wrapped in all the herbs. It was finally time for the pho, which had such a clean and comforting broth. The beef is sliced super thin and the noodles picked up all the aromatics and flavors. My favorite was this platter of fried tofu, fish cake, and pork belly, which all went so well with the deep umami fish paste. After lunch, we checked out Daan Tao Market, which has been open since 1933. Even though it's so cold outside, there's so much fresh and local produce, and no wonder the food here is so good. And then we took a break and visited the nature immersive art exhibit at Oasis. For dinner, we headed over to Montre Plaza. They served modern Canadian and French cuisine and were featured as ranked 13 in Canada's top 100 restaurants. Started with these fried oysters topped with beef tartare, and we loved how tender these razor clams were, served with a bright peanut and cilantro soy dressing. Next, we tried their creamy, rich foie gras, and it was nicely balanced by the crunch of the apple, dill, and toasted nuts, and the perfect bite was spreading it on a buttery brioche bun. One of my favorites was a Cornish hen that was so tender, and the sherry wine sauce packed a smoky umami punch that I couldn't stop dipping everything in. We finished with their cabbage and fried shrimp, which had an incredible crunch and sweet and savory flavor profile. They have so many different creative dessert options, and we tried their crispy fruit, which are these freeze-dried fruit chips made from seasonal berries and meringue. There's a nice crunch when you bite into it, and it just melts away. We finished our night entering this unmarked door, leading us to a speakeasy serving delicious Japanese cocktails. They're known for their gin and whiskey drinks, and the staff were super friendly, and we loved the recommendations. We started day 3 with the theme of staying warm with a bowl of noodle soup, and this time ramen. We started with a karaage that was juicy and had a nice crunch. The pork broth was clean and not too heavy, and the noodles had a nice bounce. Even though I like garlic, the black garlic was a bit intense for me. You really get it from multiple layers like the fried garlic chips and the rich broth. I liked how their meat was all lightly seared, and they gave us 2 soy marinated eggs, which feels so rare now. We spent a few hours at Boda Boda Spa, and it was so relaxing, and afterwards we needed a little caffeine for a pick-me-up. We took the subway to the Biodome, and they have 4 different natural environments, starting with the subpolar one with these cute penguins. When you walk into the tropical rainforest, you get hit with all the humidity and warmth, and such a contrast to the freezing cold outside. My favorite part was seeing these otters play, and definitely a really cool nature experience. One of the reasons we came to Montreal in the winter was to check out the Christmas market. It's huge and there's so many stalls, and it felt less corporate than the ones in New York. We were immediately drawn to the hot chocolate, and it was so creamy and smooth, and loved the marshmallow and whipped cream on top. We saw this frozen maple candy everywhere and had to try it. They pour maple taffy onto snow until it freezes. It has a nice maple fragrance and a caramel-like consistency. We also tried the fondue, which is prepared fresh and served in a piece of bread. It's definitely pungent but also creamy and umami. We made it over for dinner at Atla Express. It's been open since 1980 and known as one of the best brasseries in North America. They start you off by bringing over an entire jar of house-made cornichons. The pickles had a nice snappy crunch and we couldn't stop eating them. For apps, we started with a French onion soup with a thick layer of gooey melted cheese on top, and the broth was incredibly savory and slightly sweet from the caramelized onion. It was our first time trying roulettes, which is a confit made from fatty meats and slow cooked with herbs. The result is a luxurious umami spread and delicious with thin toasted bread. For mains, we had to get the steak frites. It's a hanger steak topped with butter infused with shallots and fresh herbs, which melts and coats the steak. The steak has a bold beefy flavor and is perfectly medium rare and served with golden brown French fries. My favorite dish was the beef cheek, slow cooked in a red wine sauce, and it's so tender it melts in your mouth. It's served with mashed potatoes, smoky bites of pork, and roasted carrots, and it's the perfect bite having everything together. We finished with the profiteroles filled with maple ice cream. The pastry is incredibly crisp on the outside and light and airy inside, and the creamy maple ice cream brings it all together. On day 4, we were sad it was our last day in Montreal, but we had to finish it off with a food crawl. We started off at Fairmont Bagel for a Montreal bagel. They're a bit sweeter than a New York one because they get boiled in a water bath with honey, and by doing so, it gives it an extra golden brown crust with a slightly smoky char. Next door is the popular $5 gnocchi spot. They give you so much gnocchi and each piece is so light and pillowy, and it comes in a thick and warm sauce that's so comforting when it's cold outside. We couldn't stop at just one Montreal bagel, so we walked a few blocks to try St. Viateur's as well. All the bagels had that signature charred golden crust and were fresh out the oven. I liked how the inside was a bit fluffier here and it was delicious with cream cheese. We finished our trip with a poutine spot recommended by Anthony Bourdain. It's open 24 hours a day and they have all different kinds of poutine. We got the smoked meat one that starts with the classic golden brown fries, cheese curds, and gravy topped with a ton of tender, juicy slices of beef smoked to perfection. Montreal is definitely one of my favorite food cities I've been to and can't wait to go back, maybe just not in the winter.